And here's Mitch and Mike's. How does this start, Mike? I don't remember.
I was just going to let you roll. Yeah, hey, welcome everybody to Mitch and Mike's voiceover journey, a show we've been doing for about a year and Mitch still can't remember the name of. So cool. Hey, today on the podcast, folks, we have a treat for you. We have Mr. Stitch Mainville. Now, Stitch's claim to fame is that he is the Leo Brawn in the Leo Brawn audio drama podcast that involves so many of our former guests. So hey Mitch. Hi. I'm going to be doing this the entire podcast. Hey Stitch,
finally
welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Excellent. Amazing. Happy to have you.
Glad to be here. I felt a little left out for a bit there.
Yeah, they had Terry on, and they had Mike on, and they had Frank on, and they even had Jason on, but they haven't asked me yet.
Well, you have to like tease the golden goose, so to speak. So Mike generally starts us off with a very deep, dark, scary question.
Yes,
I think
so. Stitch, why don't you tell us a little?
Oh God! Even his face was like, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Why don't you? No, hey, what we want to do is just find out about you. Now we know, from talking to you, Stitch is not. We've had a lot of voiceover actors, people who are active in the industry, on the show. Stitch, this is. He was telling us the Leo Brawn podcast. That's kind of your first foray into doing anything related to voiceover.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about where you're from, what you've done, and what brought you to this point?
I'm from Albany, New York, originally. I grew up there. It's a small mill town. I didn't want to work in the mills. When I was discharged, I was in the Navy for a while. When I got medically discharged, the VA wanted to put me through school. I could go for anything. And ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be like my idol, Rick Mitchell, who was a disc jockey in the Albany area. And I think I went to school for broadcasting. So the VA paid for me to go to school and get my broadcasting. And I found out that being a disc jockey doesn't really pay very much.
I've heard that.
I left and I moved here to Pittsburgh, got a job working for the federal government, and I've been doing that for the past 20, 25 years. But always still loved the idea of broadcasting. And when podcasting came up, it was kind of a big thing. A buddy of mine and I started a podcast called The Inebriated Basement, where we would just sit in my basement and get drunk and talk shit into the microphone. Yeah. And then I talked to my wife about my retirement coming up, and I wanted to do something. And I've always heard voiceover was pretty good, something that I enjoy doing. So I thought, let me try to do this for my retirement when it comes up. Mm-hmm. And I was looking online, a buddy of mine, Dan Kemp, he does voice work, and he said, go to this Facebook page and see what kind of stuff they have there. And I went there, and the first post I seen was a thing for Leo Brawn. And it caught my attention because my real name is Leo. It's not Stitch. Stitch is just a nickname.
What?
Cool nickname.
No.
Thank you. It's a long story how I got that nickname. But I reached out to Jason, and I'm like, hey, I'm kind of interested in this Leo Brawn thing. Maybe I could send you a little sample of what I can do. And for the podcast I had just done a fake demo commercial for our show. It was for a generic ED medication that wasn't real. It was called, what the heck was it called? I can't remember the name of it.
Limp Willie?
No. It was something like Get Your Rocks On, or so I can't remember the name of it. But in it was like you are a 55-year-old badass. That was the voice I used to do it. And I used that voice to do the Leo Brawn thing. And Jason came back. He's like, you're Leo Brawn. You got this.
Wow.
Plus,
so cool.
He friended me on Facebook, it turned my total friends 666.
Yee.
So he had the 666 friends, and then my name being Leo, and then he just was like, "Yeah, that's you. It was meant to be." So that got me on the Leo Brawn.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's fortuitous because you are. I cannot imagine that audio drama without you doing that role, because you have that gravitas to your voice that just makes it what it is. And so
I love doing it. I sometimes do it by accident, like in the house. My wife would be like, "Put the Leo Brawn away."
Is that what you call him?
Yeah, so she calls it the Leo Brawn.
all right, quit acting at me.
I got out of bed one day and I look around. I'm like, "Where the hell's my damn slippers?" And
That's
in your briefcase, Leo. Yeah.
Not the briefcase.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so yeah, I mean, that brought us up to getting involved with Shoestring TV, Jason Beard's little audio drama company that could that's rolling again. Like we said, I mean, with 3 audio dramas going now. We got Leo Brawn, the upcoming Topaz and Stillman spinoff from Leo Brawn.
Right.
And then we got Magnetar that just dropped, which is really so strange and weird, and I love it. I got to do a bit part in episode 3 that just hit today, and so I listened to most of it, and then I got distracted. But it's so wild and weird what's going on. It's just I marvel at Jason's brain.
yeah,
that he can write these things.
He can really write. That was one of the things that got us connected. I've written 2 books, and he and I were talking about his writing style and the way he writes.
Okay.
And matter of fact, the episode you voiced with me as my partner, I wrote that one.
Yeah, I know.
He let me write the episode, and we made it a short.
Yeah,
Whoa.
for trivia people out there, if you are fans of the Leo Brawn podcast, I got in a very special episode written by Stitch himself. I got to play his partner Arnie.
His cousin, Arnie.
His cousin Arnie, who was
Cousin
also his partner.
Yeah.
That's
and
my
when
cousin.
Leo was alive, because I don't know if you know this, but Leo Brawn takes place in hell, and it's an interesting alternate take on the arena of what hell is. And so that was kind of cool. And I just listened to the podcast, and I had just started getting involved with Jason, and he asked me to do that, and I felt weird because I had never met you or talked to you, and here I was playing your partner in an episode that you wrote yourself, and I just hoped that I did it I did it some justice.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I did have a question. So you found this audition online for Leo Brawn. What gave you the confidence to just go for it? Like, when I was starting out, I was a little spooked by some things. I need training, things like that. I had this insecurity that I needed to be more. What, obviously you have that cool voice, but like, what gave you the confidence? Just, yeah, I could do this. Fine. Let's give it a shot.
I don't know about count. It's not that I was ever going to be afraid of it. I always try to hit things head on, no matter what I take. And this, I didn't really see it as something I had to be worried about. I seen it more as an opportunity that I really wanted to take hold of. Even if I didn't get the part of Leo Brawn, if I could just be a part of the series, it would be great. But he sent me the script, and I read for the Leo Brawn part, and one thing led to another, and here I am. I mean, it was just Jason, myself, and I think one other person in the beginning. We didn't have like 30 people like we do now. It was
Yeah.
So when he first put out the first episode, I'm listening. I was like, all right, maybe this will be the only episode I do.
Well, and like there were so few of you in the beginning. Didn't he narrated like the first episode or two?
First
didn't
two,
he,
yeah,
before
he
any part
narrated the
came
first
in?
two, and he and I went back and forth doing the demon voices. The demon for Philip Weston was actually me, like, talking to myself. I would do my Leo Brawn part, and then I'd go back and I'd have to be like, and hope he would scramble it all up into something that sounded totally different.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that's pretty wild. And it makes sense that you were one of the first people he cast, because he needs you the most.
Yeah.
The,
You are. Yeah.
flagship.
Again, I mean, you have to have your star. You have to have the person playing the titular role. Is that what it is?
I think
Yes.
they call it.
Did I use that term correctly?
Use
You did.
titular fine, Mike.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
I'm not used to you saying that, making me feel something. But it is interesting. This isn't a Marvel character per se. This is a created character out of nowhere. But like Mike was saying, you are. Everyone knows. Say. Okay, I can't. What's with names and me lately, Mike? Michael?
You're
Robert
getting
Downey
old,
Jr.
finally.
is Iron Man. If
Yeah.
there's another Iron Man, it'd be freaking weird. I couldn't figure it out. And Stitch as Leo is awesome.
Yeah.
It's super wild that you just ran into this, and I'm so happy that you've decided to take it further, or however you decide to do that. What do you think that looks like now? We've had a little conversation about it, and now that we've talked about it, like,
Oh, you mean as far as doing voice acting?
yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be retiring in 3 years, and I am not going to be the kind of guy who retires and sits on his back porch and then dies a month later. I'm not doing that. I want to
Good.
live my life, and the one thing I've always wanted to do was what we're doing with this podcast. And writing stories is what I enjoy. I love to write, and to be able to put a story down and then hear it come alive. Like when I first listened to the Arnie special, there's a moment in there like where he breaks down and his wife is comforting him.
Yeah.
I wrote it. I knew what was going to happen, but as I'm listening, I was like, oh man, it still gets to me. So to hear it come alive is something special for me, and to be a part of that, to keep moving forward and doing that, I just love the idea. I since decided that I wanted to do this kind of thing, I've already done like some voice work for where I work. If you call and listen, you'll hear my voice putting you on hold.
IVR. Yeah.
And I've done, my niece has a business she started, and I've done a voiceover for her commercial for her business. Didn't ask any money for it, just I wanted the experience to kind of pad my resume up. So when it comes time and I can actually go out there and try to do something, I would love to do a cartoon, man. When I heard your thing and you showed us, I looked at the video you sent for that link, and I was just like, man, that's so cool. I want to do that. That's the kind of stuff I love.
Oh yeah, Mitch's cartoon that he was in.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a blast, you guys. By the way, what a blast. I could see why you want to be a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
That was dubbing, too, which was a little more difficult. I didn't realize how difficult dubbing would be, especially when you don't read all the directions about how it's supposed to be dubbing and you feel like a real fool.
But you got it done, and it turned out great.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Well, Go ahead.
Yeah, go, Mike. You
No,
go,
no,
Mike.
no.
Okay. So
anyway, what I was going to say, no.
this is how the rest of this is going to go.
I
You
did that on
are a
purpose.
writer, so you wrote 2 books. Go ahead. Please tell us what these books are, so people can go out there.
The first book is just based on my growing up in a small town in New York. I work in a hospital, and about 15 years ago, I was walking by a patient's room. It was around Christmas time, and they had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on the TV. And I remember as a kid thinking about how I used to love when that would come out, because it was, the Christmas tree was up, and the kids would sit on the floor and eat popcorn and watch TV with the lights off, and Dad sitting in the back smoking a cigarette. All that sort of came back to me in a flood, and I sat down and I kind of wrote a blog about it and sent it to my mom. And then as time went on, I kept writing these stories about my childhood, and someone had read them online and was like, you should turn that into a book. So the book is basically me as an adult going back to the home I grew up in, and each room I step into is a flashback to my childhood, and each chapter is a flashback, and it ties both stories together all in one.
Sold.
And what's the book called?
It's called Stitch in Time. Not
Hey.
but just Stitch in Time.
That's
Stitch
catchy.
in Time.
That's catchy as
Yeah.
hell.
The second book is called Stitch in Time, A Sailor's Story, and it's all my drunken, debaucherous moments in the Navy, all the partying I did, all the ports I went to, and all the girls I banged when I was in the service, just all that kind of stuff. It's pretty raunchy. My cousin doesn't like anyone to know that. She edited it for me. Because the first book didn't have any editing. I just
you did what?
Exactly, yeah.
Why are we talking about your dick so much? Yeah.
Yeah. It's the more fun of the two books. The first one it's kind of lighthearted, and it just sort of if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, it brings you back to that. But the second book is my fun story. It's my fun time. They say write what you know, and I know myself better than anything else. So.
And where are
Both
those
sound
available?
great.
On Amazon.com or right from my publisher, authorhouse.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Authorhouse.com, Amazon, look for Stitch in Time, and you'll find both of them because they're both called that, sort of.
And this is not an audiobook yet, correct?
No, and that was an idea that we
There you
talked
go.
about before. About I don't know if my publisher has audiobooks available, but I'm reaching out now, get in touch with them. I want to read my own stories
Of course you do.
in audio format and see if I can sell that through my publisher as well.
Yeah.
It just gives it for me. I have trouble reading. I fall asleep. I don't know what it is. I love the book. I fall asleep. It doesn't matter. To have that, it's just more reachable people. Hearing a story for me is way better.
Yeah, well,
And
and
from you, win.
Yeah. I mean, A, you have a great voice for it. B, it's your story. And so you can give it the emphasis where it needs it. And you won't need direction on it because you know the story. And I think that your voice would really lend to it. So, yeah, I hope that you get that done and that and it goes off real well. And maybe it, creates in you a desire, hey, you know what, this audiobook thing, this kind of works for me. For me, I have a short attention span, and I also am really bad at long form narration because I and all the time, and so it's amazing that a guy like me is doing a podcast. But
You're allowed to do that here, Mike.
yeah,
Well, that's what editing's for, though, right?
No, we don't edit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not here. No, sir.
We keep all the imperfections in because it makes it fun.
I did
Plus
a
a lot less
podcast
work.
with my wife for a little while, and
Yammerin.
yeah,
I saw
and
you post
she,
about that.
What's that?
I saw you post one before.
Yeah, well, the format's changed. It's not with my wife any longer. It's with my son now.
Oh, okay.
But when she and I did it, she has a tendency to, as she's talking to, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd have to sit down and listen to the whole thing all over again and cut out all her little throat clearings. I
was
put
gonna
it all
say, I didn't
together
notice
once
that.
for her. At the end, I made a whole file of just all of them from just one show, and I
bet she
played a
loved
2-minute for her.
Probably her favorite. Wow.
I have edited all of ours up to now, and Mitch is starting to get involved in it. But I have to listen to everyone and listen to just like it's like a drinking game. How many times Mike says The problem with that is they're not editable out because I'm just talking and and then I do this and and then and so it's just a run on and you can't edit it out or it would sound goofy.
Yeah.
So I just have to go every time I hear myself say so and and then and I'm just like my eyes twitching like Forrest Whitaker and it just
Mike, I think I might have you beat with how many times I lose my train of thought. Maybe, which is happening right now as we speak. I can't.
Yeah. Oh, we're
but
so good.
Love
We're so
to
good
get
at what
in
we
the
do.
meta of this. Yes. Mike,
right.
you had a question that I rudely interrupted.
I was
Much
just going to
earlier.
say something, and I'll have to go back and watch it because maybe I'll remember what it was I was gonna,
Okay.
what I was,
We'll call
was
you
I was
up,
going to
Stitch, for that
interject.
one.
But,
Yeah.
so talk about. Let's go back a little bit and just kind of. I want to hear a little bit about your radio career. You said you got into it. You got the GI Bill, and you got into radio, and then you realized radio doesn't make money. But did you have fun doing it?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
And was it drive time? Was it when were you on?
No, man, it was midnight.
You're the midnight guy.
I got started. One of my instructors in school, Chuck Taylor, was the morning man for an adult contemporary station, WYJB in Albany.
Okay.
And he let me do my internship there. And that turned into an overnight gig afterwards. He said, if you want, you can be the overnight guy. I was like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. That led to other things where their sister station was like a hot hits type of thing. Fly 92, did a little work over there, and it was just fun. I just really enjoyed it. On the adult contemporary, there wasn't a whole lot of talking. It was basically this. Good morning, 1:35, 25 minutes before the hour on B95.5 FM. I'm Ian Michaels, and I've got 6 more soft rock hits coming up back-to-back and uninterrupted only on B95.5. That's all the talking I did in between the songs and going to commercials and things like that.
Now,
I
what was
loved
the
it.
era? Were you spinning discs or were you pushing buttons?
CDs.
Or how did the tracks? CDs?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have to load
Not
them?
even tapes.
Like put them in the rack?
It was 3 machines, and the commercials were and public service announcements were all still on carts. So I had a cart machine and CDs, and I would get a run of 6 songs, and I would load them all up into the CD player, program them, and then go get a cup of tea or take a piss or whatever, and come back in like 10 or 15 minutes and get ready for the last song to introduce the public service announcement. And then right at the stroke of midnight, I was doing transmission checks, logging everything down from the transmitters that were up on the hills. And I did all this until about 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I would do another run, and I would go into the production room and work on commercials and weather carts for Chuck and Diane in the morning. That's what they would have all their weather ready.
Oh, wow.
And how long did you do that?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was married to my second wife at the time, and she's from Pittsburgh. And the whole time we lived in New York, she just kept saying, our lives would be so much better if we lived in Pittsburgh. Rah, 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 rah. And I was just like, whatever. I can do this in Pittsburgh. No, I couldn't. It was the market in Albany is like number 57, and Pittsburgh is like number 17. There was no way I was just going to go from a low market to a high market like that. And I didn't realize that. So when I got out here, I was sending my tapes out, doing demos and trying to get in, but nothing, which is how I wound up working in a hospital, trying to make money to get by until I found something in radio.
Oh, wow. Man, and I love Pittsburgh so much. I'm so sad that didn't that part didn't work out for you there.
Yeah, selfish question I have to ask. You're from Albany. Mm-hmm. You live in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Bills fan or Steelers fan?
I've been a Steelers fan since I was 7 years old. Yes, sir.
Baby. I didn't wear my hat. I didn't wear my jersey today, but oh, yeah. All right,
my mother
and I
and
are
father,
pals. Mitch, you
they
can
didn't
log
even like
off 'cause we're
football,
just
my
gonna talk.
parents.
I'm out of here.
So they were having a Super Bowl party just to have a party. And my uncle, he's like 5 years older than me. He comes running up into my room and he puts my portable TV on the channel so we can watch the game. And it was his team, the Dallas Cowboys, versus the other team, the Steelers. And I was like, okay, if that's your team, then that's going to be my team. And they've been my team ever since.
You got a similar story to me. When I was 6 or 7 years old living in Southern California, my dad started buying me football cards. And they had all the black uniforms and Jack Lambert and and they were all the All-Pros and then they were winning the Super Bowls. I'm like, yeah, that's my team. Yeah. 7-year-old Mike latched on. I am the world's longest bandwagon fan.
Yeah, I never left. Even during the 80s when they were doing they weren't doing so well. I stuck with them. Yeah,
me too. Yep.
Wow,
yeah, so we'll have to talk offline and go over all of our Steelers stories because
I was like, what are all these numbers on here? I don't even understand. Is that attack and defense?
The Steelers is why I met my second wife.
Really?
I heard that she was from Pittsburgh, and I was like, cool. If I marry her, I could probably get tickets to a game. That's how I wound up here in Pittsburgh. Cause I was,
Well, I've been a lifelong Steeler fan, and the first game I went to was in 2021. So. And I loved the city. That was the first time I'd ever been to Pittsburgh.
Was actually in the old Three Rivers Stadium before it got torn down. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a
Ironically,
great
I
place.
live near Dallas, so it's been fun to be a Steelers fan in Dallas.
Oh, it's got to be.
But I digress. Enough sports talk. This is a voiceover podcast.
Somebody's gonna love it, you guys. It's
I know. Yeah. And then
somebody out there is gonna be so pumped.
Why don't they talk about that more?
So we were in radio. So you're done with radio, right? Even if someone was like, "Hey, we got a radio job for you right now. How about it, Stitch?"
Oh, I take it.
You take it.
I take a radio job. Absolutely. It's I love not just being on the air and doing the show and playing music, but the remotes that we did. The people you'd meet when we went to the fair, we went to the grand opening of somewhere, and we set up our booth and did a remote. That was fun, and that helped pay. That gave you some money in your pocket. But I really enjoyed the production. I loved making commercials. I loved, someone from advertising coming in going, hey, we got this spot. Or even if it was a national where it was like a donut, they already had everything going and you just did the local in the middle. And I loved all that, putting that together. So,
yeah, that's cool. And some of that can play in the voice, we can help you with voice acting, but other people would obviously have to help you with radio. I guess I do have a question that we don't tend to get to answer. Since you are newer, you're starting this whole path just like we all did. Mm-hmm. What for you is the most daunting or like confusing thing about getting started?
Knowing where to go. I think I was trying to pick brains when I decided this is what I want to do when I'm done and this is what I want to make my career. It's just knowing who to turn to, where to go. When I was in the service, I remember this young girl said to me, I joined the Navy because I wanted to be a politician. I don't know how to go about being a politician. It made me think, yeah, how do you go about being a politician? It's just, you can't just jump into something and not know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So when I took this, and Jason gave me the opportunity, I'm like, okay, here's my foot in the door. Now let me pick the brains of other people who are doing this and see where they go. And I think I was asking you, do I need an agent? Should I do this? Should I do that? So just knowing where to go and what to do, that's the most confusing thing. Having the passion to do it, that is alone is all you really need. You can't look at it like, hey, I got a job and this is going to be my job. No, this is a passion. I want to do this whether I get paid or not. I love doing this.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good attitude to have because a lot of us don't get paid very well.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, if you go into it with the right mindset of, and you seem to, where like this is fun. Mm-hmm. I love getting in the booth and playing around and doing the auditions and doing the recordings and stuff, whether I get paid or not. That's great because, you may or may not. I mean, some people have gotten in. We've heard stories of, I did this and I accidentally fell into this and I had great success from the get-go. It's like, wow, you're lucky because most of us are taking years and years to even get that foot in the door. And so, hopefully for you, I mean, you've got that deep, manly voice that a lot of products and a lot of other things, they're looking for. I mean, that's why Cunningham has a good amount of success. I mean, he's a good actor to begin with, but I mean, he's got that gravelly, low voice that most of us can't get naturally. And you've got that same kind of tone to your voice that I feel like, wow, you're going to have some good success when you get into it.
I just remembered the name of that fake ED medication we were doing the commercial for.
I was hoping you would bring that back.
It's called my coxafloppin.
All right.
It was bugging me. I couldn't remember.
Was that on the podcast, or was that before we were?
It was from an old podcast that we.
No, but I mean, I can't remember if we were talking about that before we started recording.
I think we talked about it on the Devil's Den. We mentioned it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And on here.
Yeah, but like us, the three of us, I think we were talking when we were. If not, then all of you are going, wait, what just happened?
What is my coxafloppin?
But Stitch
Get
also,
it
that's another good point. I mean, we talk about, other things that we do. In addition to being Leo Brawn, he and Jason have started the Devil's Den podcast where they discuss episodes of the Leo Brawn podcast. And so the Devil's Den is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's what Leo calls his office or his conference room where...
Yeah, if you go to a police station, they have the bullpen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, so rather than calling it the bullpen, it's called the Devil's Den.
Yeah, so that's
where all the agents work from.
Yep, and it lends itself to a perfect name for the podcast. So yeah, if you and that's on the Patreon, right?
Yeah, he had the video on Patreon because we would video it, but the audio it's on any platform actually.
Okay, yeah, nice. So you can listen on a platform. But if you'd like to support Shoestring TV. Go to Shoestring TV. Is it shoestringtv.com? What is it? I don't even know.
I think it's
Shoestring.tv.
Shoestring.tv.
yeah,
And
on his Patreon,
you can find
yeah.
the Patreon link there
Patreon.
and support this little venture that we're all
still,
involved in.
We should just pair this
Yeah.
this podcast
Let's just put this
with
podcast
Libra,
on the
'cause
Patreon. Yeah.
it's like literally like, oh man. So you touched upon something I've been talking about way too much lately, and that's you're a voice actor. We know that, and a great one. And then you have your other things. You write, and you write well. You integrated an episode into a thing that already existed, and without telling me, I didn't know. And so even though it was a good episode, hidden amongst other good episodes that seamlessly flowed, that's a skill in itself. Not everyone could do that. I'm not sure I could. You've written your own books, and you're a podcaster. How do you see all of this coming together to create the Stitch Mainville flagship of business and love, or whatever you're going to call it?
I call my studio
TM.
MTC
Yeah.
because it started out with me just blogging back when blogging was a thing, and I would finish all of my thoughts with, and that's my 2 cents, MTC. And now I kind of do that with my podcasts. It's just me basically bitching and griping about shit that I see that I don't agree with or that I do agree with. And my son does it with me, and he does it from this millennial point of view, and I do it from my old boomer point of view. And we sometimes agree, we sometimes disagree, but it's just, that's my 2 cents, too freaking bad. So my studio is MTC, my 2 cents.
Right.
And I want to do everything I can. I would love to make it something bigger. I think that would be great, not just a little corner of my basement, but I would love to make it an actual studio and do stuff, and maybe even get voice work for animations. I could see myself as like an evil villain on an animation. I'd love to do that.
That's
for
that would be
sure.
fun.
But yeah, I have a passion for it. This is something I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. I've always wanted to use my voice. Even when I was in broadcast school, my instructor, his name was Tom, he did a lot of local voice work. And he said, man, where have you been for the past 13 years? Why are you just going to school now? And I was like, I was in the Navy. But even in the Navy, I was, blowing the bosun's pipe and passing the word over the 1MC, and people would come up to me and go, all right, Don Pardo. Because I just put into it. I just love doing it. So
now before the Leo Brawn, had you've got a passion for being heard, for whether it's on radio, whether it's yelling into the whatever you called it, because I don't know naval terms.
Ship's
on
1MC.
the ship. Yeah, there you go. And all the other. Had you done any actual acting before?
High school, some acting, like local theaters, things like that. Nothing big. I was Lieutenant Joseph Cable in South Pacific. We did a production of that, and I was Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady. I can't think of anything else really. Just like improv stuff. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All right.
That's also important.
Improv comes in handy in the voiceover world. You hear that from several big time people. We just interviewed one of them. That's like one of the biggest improv coaches in voiceover. He's not related to Andy Parkin, but it's Scott Parkin. And then
Right.
I don't know if Frank's ever talked about him, but Terry, Jim, Larry Oblander, a good group of the people that are involved with Shoestring now came from the camp of a guy named Tim Powers. And he actually got his start in radio as well. And he's a big time voiceover coach now as well. I got to meet him and get friendly with him. And he was one of the first guests we had on the podcast. But he's big into improv, and you'll hear from them and a lot of people just how important it is to have good improv skills, especially in character work, to be able to take the words on the page and embellish a little bit and play off of, your fellow actors and stuff. So it's a good skill to have.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
And I feel like you
and
can
it's
make
challenging
friends
and
that
it's
way.
scary and all the things.
Scary for some
so scary.
people.
Yeah. All right. So now we're at this point. You've got a few years to retirement. You're gonna finish up at the hospital, and so between now and then, you're hoping to get this business of Stitch Mainville off the ground. So we talked about. I know you've had conversations with a few people about how to go about doing that. Mitch has given you some good advice. What do you hope for? What is like? Okay, when I'm retired and I'm doing this full time, you talked about being a villain. Are there dreams? Is it like, oh, if I could do that, if I could voice that, or if I could be a part of XYZ, then I'll know that I really made it. What's the dream?
I don't know. I've never really dreamt that far. Just doing this job is a dream enough for me. But if I had an ultimate goal, I'd want to be a recognized voice. When you go to the movies, right, and they're showing the previews, and they go, "This summer," that voice that booms in the theater, and everybody knows, and everybody I want to be that voice.
Promo.
Yeah.
Promo guy.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah. And not everyone can promo. I'm not a promo guy. I'm the sarcastic dad. Okay? So it's nice to be in that niche. Know you're in that niche. I can hear it already. I'm pumped.
Oh, totally. I could totally hear you doing stuff like that. You could even have you thought about sportscasting? I mean, you've got a very interesting voice for
really.
No.
Yeah.
Although, what about like puppy sports?
When I go to the ball games here and watch the Pirates lose, I'll sit there with the little club card and the little pencil and keep track of like who got on first base, and I'll animate to myself because my wife will look at me like, "Will you shut up?" Because I'm like, "It's a ground ball at first base."
Oh yeah,
See?
Yeah.
However much you like sports or not, I think that's something that you could possibly do. But yeah, the world is your oyster, as they say. That's the thing is the more you train, the more you explore. I think you'll find those things where it's like, I'm interested in that, not so interested in that, and hopefully you're gonna find your footing. What Mitch? What Mitch is making faces at?
I have your job.
Ooh.
I came across on the internet recently. Sperm racing. You know about it. Okay, I think you could be the voice.
I shudder to think what you were searching for when you came across sperm racing.
That's the thing. Nothing. So it comes up and organically even on my feed. It thinks
You know why?
Okay, well,
because
now
of
it's
AI. So you're obviously talking about and thinking about sperm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't.
Like, how
come
many
up.
times have I typed in sperm?
Apparently, quite a bit.
But yeah, a very interesting sport, up and coming. I think it could use your voice. I'm just saying.
You heard it here first.
Sperm racing.
Yeah.
Normally, I feel like that was Mike's like big picture question. Normally, I have a who do you have your eye on in the industry question, but I guess there's someone we already know about. We just heard from, and he shares your name.
Yeah.
Could
you maybe tell us a little bit about your son?
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's weird. When he was a teenager, his mother and I divorced a long time ago, but we kept in touch by phone. And one day he calls the house, and my wife's like, "Hello," and she's looking at me, and she's like, "This sounds exactly like you." He's got my voice. The kid sounds like me. When we're talking, I hear myself in him. He's like a little Asian me. He's his mother's Filipina, and he's got that look of a Filipina Stitch. That's it, basically it. But the kid's phenomenal. I mean, he's great with music. He was in a band back when they lived in Vegas. He was in a group called Old Ghost Crowd, and they did a lot of like rap music and stuff like that. And he'd send me his files, and I'd listen to him. Me, this old white guy driving around listening to boosh, boosh in my car. But my son loved his older brother's stuff, and he would have me burn them onto a CD for him. Now he's a bartender. He's a really lovable guy. Everybody loves talking to him and hanging out with him. He doesn't drink. Get that, though. He works in a bar, makes fantastic drinks, never touches the stuff.
He's not dipping in.
But when he heard me doing this, when I first got into Leo Brawn and I told him about it, he's like, "That's really cool, Dad. That's really cool." And he had a podcast. He was, they did wrestling. Talk about each, hey, we just watched this episode tonight, and this is what's going on. And I don't know, it didn't really take off for him. But he really enjoyed it, and when he heard me doing this, he wanted to know if he can get involved, and I hooked him up with Jason. And Jason, I guess we heard him at the last table read we did.
Yeah. Episode 3 of
like
season
he's been
2
doing it.
of Leo Brawn, which will be up and coming.
He
you'll
really
hear
fell in love with the idea.
Leo Mainville the Third.
Yes, he is the third.
So hopefully we can watch you both run this shit.
That's
And then when
what we're
people
talking
search
about. He and
for
I were
Leo
like, why don't we
Mainville
just team up?
on the Googles, they're not going to know who they're going to come up with. Could be
True,
second,
true, yeah.
could be the third, but they sound the same, so what does it matter? It's funny you say he sounds just like you. I've been seeing these TikToks of Patrick Warburton. Patrick Warburton is the only impression that I can actually do with any regularity. And he's doing these TikToks now, and he's got his sons doing them, and they sound just like him, and it's pretty funny because they're going up and they're imitating him right to his face, and he's going, "What is going on here?" So, sorry, I just had to throw that out. It popped into my head.
He was
funny.
Putty on Seinfeld. I used to love watching him on Seinfeld.
Oh, I love watching him on anything. I mean, Emperor's New Groove is just all kinds of greatness for me. Kronk is one of the best Disney characters in history. So
That's so funny.
And he was on Family Guy, right? He's the guy in the wheelchair.
yeah. He's Joe, right? Joe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna have him on the podcast. So.
Yeah, we're calling
For
him
real?
up next.
Yep, he's coming up.
No,
after Eric
it's
Carlino.
funny because we've been talking about, what's the next step for us, and should we shoot our shot with some of these famous names and say, hey, can you come on our itty bitty little podcast and we talk about voiceover. But we'll see, maybe. I mean, we're getting,
Not impossible.
people are going to look back at this and they're going to be like, oh, Stitch Mainville, way back when he was on the Mitch and Mike show, and but before he got really famous. And so we have the coup. We have the first voiceover interview with Stitch. So we got that
I would love
going
to be
for
the
us.
next Casey
which is nice.
Kasem.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I think
Here's
they
a guy
cloned
who did
him,
something
so
with
I
his
don't
voice.
think.
Top 40.
Yeah.
See, Mitch
It's
didn't grow up
Casey.
listening to Casey Kasem's Top 40.
I
but
did,
we did.
in fact.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was he
He's-
still around?
kept-
Was he still doing that?
He
when
kept
you were...
going. Yeah.
Shoot, I used to
Casey
watch it on
Kasem.
Saturdays. It was Casey Kasem's Top 10, I think it was, followed up by reruns of Sha Na Na. And that was for 11-year-old me, that was the bomb. I loved that hour on Saturdays after the cartoon.
I have a question for you guys. Have you ever done this? When I was a kid, I told you I had this hero, Rick Mitchell, was the morning man of the radio station I listened to. And I remember I had this image of him in my head because his voice gave me a picture of what he looked like. And then when after I first met him in real life, I was like, you're not Rick Mitchell. Because he did not look anything like the voice that I heard on the radio. Do you do that? Do you try to generate an image with your voice when you're doing a voice?
Oh.
Well, I think, when you're doing a character, part of how that character comes out sometimes is the way your face contorts. Because when I'm doing an old man, I'll get my jowls pulled down like this, and then it helps with the. And then you might be doing a sinister character, and you get real furrowed in the brow, and and you get that menace in your mouth. So yeah, a lot of times I do become whatever the heck it is I'm voicing.
Yeah, I love to curl my body up for weird little, little creatures. So yeah, I imagine myself curled up in one of my little fingers doesn't work or whatever. Yeah, it's all the imagery's there.
Yeah, people will
I
tell
did that
you.
when
That
they had me do the voice of the demon in the first 2 episodes of Leo Brawn, I did that. I hunched my shoulder, and it wasn't anything I would do intentional. I just realized, what am I doing? Because I was like, trying to be evil, and I'm being evil.
But it helps
and
you
with
get
Leo
that
Brawn,
character too.
I put a scotch or a whiskey in front of me, light a cigarette, and I am Leo Brawn for the whole time.
Yeah, you hear. I mean, like I know Mike Cunningham has props in his booth, and a lot of people do. Where they they're doing like Cunningham when he's doing a video game. He was talking about it, and he pulled out. He's got this like Minecraft sword or whatever. He's got, and he'll and so when he's doing he's actually got a prop sword in his hand to do it. And he said it, people say, I mean, when you actually have things, as long as they're not making noise in there, because you don't want to be clanking around with whatever it is you're using. But, I mean, that kind of thing can really help add to the performance. So, yeah. Body language, facial expressions, everything. So,
Speaking of.
Here it comes.
I'm getting a feeling.
Oh, no.
I'm getting a certain kind of need that I need fulfilled, and it has nothing to do with sperm racing.
What would that need be, Mitch?
I want to act.
And how can we fulfill it without sperm?
You sound like Wishmaster.
Because I wouldn't do that for you.
Wishmaster. I would love to act with you guys. I would love to create a script.
Yeah, baby.
Using ChatGPT and act. Is that okay with you, Stitch?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's do it. All right. Please. We will pause right here, and through the magic of podcasting, we'll be back in half a second. We give you the audio drama, The Great Pudding Swap, starring Stitch Mainville and a couple other mooks.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Lights up. Dr. Dreadful stands by the dessert cart, quietly replacing bowls of rice pudding with tapioca from under his cape.
Soon they will taste texture of chaos. Oh, more rice pudding monotony. One more slippery triumph of tapioca.
From behind him, a motor whirs. Captain Valor rolls in on his power chair, followed by his sidekick, Lil Spark, hobbling with a cane.
You still fighting the same battles, Dreadful? Even in those compression sucks?
Yes, I caught you red-handed, or should I say, soggy-spooned?
Valor, Spark, I should have known you'd sniff out true innovation. What's the matter? Can't handle a little culinary progress?
What you call progress, we call a crime against dessert.
Yeah, tapioca's texture-based war crime, old man.
Blasphemy! Those chewy pearls are the pinnacle of pudding engineering.
You bastard! Rice pudding has history. Heart. It won the Desert War, or Dessert War of 78 for crying
That's
out
right.
loud.
Yeah, get it out.
That was a fluke, and the gelatin lobby rigged it. Bastards.
Dr. Dreadful reaches to switch one more bowl. Lil Spark twirls their cane and knocks the spoon from his hand.
Hands off the rice, raisin eyes.
You throw harder than my chiropractor.
This ends now, Dreadful. Let the people choose. Freedom of pudding, not dictatorship.
Fine. But know this, on Chocolate Day, I will rise again.
Oh, you bring that cocoa chaos. We'll be waiting, Dreadful, with sprinkles.
They stare each other down in slow motion. A single spoon clinks in the background.
Justice never, what's the
It
word?
retires.
Yeah, justice never retires, you bastard.
Oh, that was absurd.
Wow. How fun.
All right. I want to see a show about old retired superheroes and villains battling
Yes.
over tapioca pudding in in a retirement home.
I'm trying to understand the meaning of throw harder than my chiropractor. I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Maybe like the twists.
Oh, okay.
That's why AI will never replace real writers like you, Stitch. All right. Well, that was a blast. I hope you had fun. I hope the listeners had fun because this was a great episode.
Yeah, I did have a good time with you guys. It was fun.
Good. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I know Mitch does too. And gosh and golly, I can't wait for Leo Brawn Season 2 and Topaz and Stillman and more of Magnetar and all the fun things that Shoestring TV has. And we can't wait till we can say we knew Stitch Mainville when, because he'll be famous. And we will
I
still
can't
be
wait to
on.
be famous.
Yeah, we'll be podcast weirdos. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, here's where the awkward goodbyes come.
Okay. I love you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.